Hello students, and welcome to our after video lesson 7. Today we're going to be solving multi-step inequalities, and we're going to be graphing those on a number line. That's going to be one dimension graphing is what we're going to do. So you're not going to graph like you were with the Desmos in 2 dimensions. We're just graphing in 1 dimension today. Now, some terms that we're going to talk about or might be familiar to you: the word inequality, number line, open dot, closed dot, and the hook. Now, inequality, you guys might remember those guys. They look like less than or greater than, or less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. Something like that. You could have a not equal to also for an inequality. That's what those look like. You guys know what a number line looks like. It's just a line with numbers on it. Maybe you made them that look like that. Maybe they look like this, 5, 10. They can go in different increments. Something like that is a number line. You guys remember, maybe I think it was about the 6th grade, you did this graphing stuff maybe for the first time, and you remember that an open dot, which looks like that we'll place on the number line, represents a less than or greater than symbol. A closed dot, which is solid and it includes the value that's there, is less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. And the hook, you'll see that today. That's saving that for special occasion, but we'll see that going on today. Let's take a peek at example 1. Example 1 says that x is greater than 3. So on our number line, we want to make sure that we include a 3. Maybe if you want to, you could have put a 4 there or a 2 there. Because of that inequality sign, we're going to choose an open dot. I'm going to put it above the number line on this one. And we know that x is bigger than. Some of y'all may have thought about this as like a Pac-Man eating a bigger value. So on this inequality, it's going to eat it. Some of y'all might have thought about an alligator mouth that's eating the bigger value there. So x is bigger, so we want to shade or include all the values that are bigger. So we'd have an open dot and shade to the right. For this one right here, it says 2 is less than or equal to y. So we're going to put 2 on here. Maybe again we'll put a 1 there, maybe we'll put a 3. We know the type of dot that we're going to use is a closed dot. And I'm going to change this. I'm going to put it actually on the number line. And again, that Pac-Man right there, that mouth is opening up for the y. So the y is bigger. So where do we find values that are bigger? We're going to find those over here to the right. Now, that may shock some of you guys. When you first learned this, all the time the variables were on the left side. But we know we can deal with them on the right side or the left side. Pay attention to the relationship between the variable and the inequality. If the alligator mouth or Pac-Man's eating it, eating the variable, you want to shade to the right. If it's pointing at the variable, you want to shade to the left. Now, let's slide down here. Continue with our notes. Looking at example 2, what you're going to find out today, class, is that we're going to pretty much solve these the same way that we've been solving equations. So that's just a math verb right there. An equation has a math verb that looks like that. So this is why it's called an inequality. So with that in mind, let's go to work on this. Let's just go ahead and subtract 5 from both sides like we have been doing. And we have x is less than 2. Once we get to that point, we're pretty much home free. We're going to put a 2 on there, maybe a 3, maybe a 1. We'll use an open dot, and x is being pointed at, so we know that that's less than, so we're going to shade to the left. Likewise, with this problem, it's got 7y is less than or equal to negative 14. Maybe some of you already know that we're going to use a solid dot when we graph this. We'll divide both sides by 7, and we have y is less than or equal to negative 2. So again, maybe we put negative 2 on here. Maybe we put a negative 3. Maybe we'll put a negative 1 on this guy, something like that. We're going to use a solid dot. And the inequality is pointing at our variable, so we know it's less than, so we're going to shade to the left. Now, question here is, how would you check your solutions? Well, all you have to do is take a value over here in your shaded area and plug it in. So maybe over in this shaded area that we have like 1. Okay, so 1's over here. We just plug in that and go 1 plus 5, is that less than 7? Yes, it is. It's 6. But if you grab something over here in the unshaded area, it would not be true. So you guys can do that if you want to. So all we have to do is just plug in to check our work in a value in the shaded area. All right, everybody got that down pat. So you can check your inequalities. Let's go over here to example 3, I think it is. Looks like there's some fish over here. Let's see what we got going on. Example 3 has a big fish up there. Looks familiar. But anyway, looks like a 2-step inequality here if you recognize it. So we're going to add 1 to both sides, clean that up. We got 2x. It's greater than 10. We're going to go ahead and divide by 2. And we have x is greater than 5. So maybe put 5 on our number line. We're going to use an open dot. And x is bigger. The alligator mouth is eating it there. Everybody see it, or the Pac-Man is? Okay, so we're going to shade it to the right. Let's look at this guy right here. We go ahead and subtract 2 from both sides. We have 3x greater than or equal to 21. We're going to divide by -3. And we have x is greater than -7. So we're going to put -7 on here. Maybe -6 is right there, -8 is right there. We're going to go ahead and use an open dot. And x is bigger, so we're going to shade to the right. Now, some people are moaning right now, and we'll see why in a second. So let's check these real quick. So maybe you find a value like 10 over here. 10 in the shaded area. 2 times 10 is 20, minus 1 is 19. 19 is bigger than 9. That's true. Let's take something over here. Maybe -7, -6, -5. Maybe like 0's right there. Let's use 0. -3 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 2 is 2. Is 2 bigger than 23? This is not checking over here. What happened? Well, some people were moaning because they knew right here that there's where some fishing was taking place. Okay? Because if you multiply or divide by negative, some people in the class know that you have to reverse or flip that inequality sign there. Actually, that should be a solid dot there, guys. I'm sorry. So they know they have to flip or reverse that inequality sign. So let's go back and see what we have to do here. Right here, we divided by -3. So let me grab an eraser and change the direction of that inequality sign. So x is now smaller. It's being pointed at there. So we have to erase this and shade to the left in this case. Okay? Now, maybe over here we got like -10. So let's check that out. -10 on our solution area. -3 times -10 is a positive 30. Plus 2 is 32. Is 32 bigger than 23? Now it checks out right here. So we're good to go. That's checking out now. So again, here's what you need to know. Here's the hook right back over here. There it is. When you multiply or divide with a negative number, you need to flip or reverse your inequality sign. Last example right here, guys, a couple more. So let's clean this up and see if we can use this. Let's not get caught, okay? Let's not get caught. with these negative signs here. So we look at this inequality. We notice right here we have two numbers. We can go ahead and combine those. So we get 6 minus m is all greater than 8. So all we have to do is subtract 6 from both sides. Draw a line, bring down our inequality sign. We get 2 on this side. We got a negative m here. What can we do? We don't want negative m. So you have a couple options. I'm going to multiply both sides by -1. That's one trick I can use. Now, because I'm multiplied by -1, this becomes a what? Fishhook problem. So straight away I got to reverse that inequality sign. Negative m times -1 is positive m. -1 times 2 is -2. So plug that in there. Open dot here. Open dot will change colors here for you. And m is smaller. Looking at that, the arrow is pointing at it, so I got a shade to the left on that one. Okay? Everybody good? Now, does someone have a, I'm sorry guys, that sort of blue line there messed that up. So I think that's a solid dot. Okay, so everybody check that, make sure that little blue line's messing me up there. All right, so I think that's a solid dot there. So solid dot shading to the left. This guy here is a multi-step inequality. So we're going to use that distributive property we talked about. Get rid of those parentheses. So we got 24 minus 4x less than 2. I still have this 3x hanging around out front here. So notice right here that we have like terms. Let's combine those, paying attention to those coefficients like we talked about. That's going to be -1x. I'm going to write it that way. Is less than 2. I've got a positive 24 in here. So let me move this. Sorry, guys. Let me write it this way. -x plus 24. Make it look like a one-stepper. It's really a two-stepper, but we'll subtract 24 from both sides. Clean that up. We got -22 on this side. We have a -x on that side. Here's another way you can get rid of that negative sign. Let's go in here and just divide by -1. That's legal in Virginia. Let's do it. Negative divided by negative is a positive. So we get positive x. It's a fishhook problem because we're dividing by a negative. So we have to flip that inequality sign. And we get a positive 22 over there. Put this on our number line. Maybe put 22 there. 24. Maybe 20 there. Open dot. X is bigger, so we're going to shade to the right. Now, hopefully we learned today that we're going to solve inequalities the same way that we solved equations, except for one thing. If you multiply or divide by a negative number, you got to flip or reverse that inequality sign. So, good luck with your try problems.